And welcome to the Marybeth Conley Show. It's Together Strong Thursday with Sherry Henley. You can interact with Sherry online at sherryhenley.com, 2 R's and an I. And Together Strong is our hashtag for today, along with always Live Life Large. So join the conversation there. You're listening to AM 990 and KWAM990.com, and we would love for you to go to the App Store and download the KWAM app so that you can listen to the show wherever you go. Today, we're going to be talking about mentoring, but it's not going to be a dry discussion. It's going to be a personal story of someone who was brought along and really brought to a whole new professional level thanks to the care and concern of none other than Sherry herself. It's a great story of how much just caring on a human level for another person can do in a professional setting. It's collaboration at its best. We'll get started in just a moment on Together Strong Thursday. And welcome to the Marybeth Conley Show on AM 990 and KWAM990.com. It is Together Strong Thursday with Sherry Henley, and her website, as you know by now, is sherryhenley.com, 2 R's and an I. Sherry, how are you?
I'm great. I love the way you say my name.
2 R's and an I?
No, Sherry. Pronounce that.
Sherry.
I love that. I don't know what you
other
do.
People say it.
I'm not sure, but it has a nice ring to it.
Oh, well, then I'll say it a lot.
Okay.
We've been together about 6 months now. We're celebrating our anniversary practically.
Yes. In fact,
cool.
I'm celebrating an anniversary with my husband in 2 days.
Oh, how many years?
5 years.
Well, tell him he's about 4.5 years ahead of me.
Okay. Will do.
And, he's ahead of me in other ways, too, I know. But, if you listen to the program, we certainly hope you do. You know that the whole idea behind Together Strong Thursday is collaboration, working together to create better communities, families,
Yes.
churches, just whatever it is, workplaces.
Absolutely.
It's all about collaboration with you. Were you always this way? Like, were you the kid in the neighborhood organizing the games and getting everybody in?
Well, I was born and bred in the briar patch, so to speak, with a pastor's home.
Uh-huh.
And so I watched my mother do that within the church, being the pastor's wife. And
Connecting people. And
yes, absolutely. And so at the age of 13, 14 years old, I was teaching a Sunday school class. I was teaching the children's choir. So yes, I learned at a very young age to bring all the talent together and pull out the people that needed to be developed.
Yeah. So here's what you can do. And so you do this part
Yes.
and I'll do this part, and we'll bring others
Correct.
along to teach them. Because I don't know that you know how rare that is in the business world, that the mentoring that you do. And in fact, within Sherry's company, which is an umbrella, Sherry Henley Intelligence is an umbrella for the iShare Agency for Business
Correct.
Over Coffee International. For your publishing arm.
BOCI
now.
Publishing, yes, correct.
BOCI Radio.
Correct.
What am I missing?
Sherry Henley Intelligence.
Right. Oh, I said that was the umbrella, right? Oh, DCI.
Digital Citizen University.
Right. DCU. Right.
Correct.
Anything else?
Coming to your own.
And coming to your own. Right. Brand new
Right.
book, which you heard about, in fact. And it's actually so much more than a book.
And believe it or not, all of that feeds into one another.
Which is how Sherry's brain works is amazing. I'd have to drink like gallons of caffeine just to keep up with all of it.
I just took a BC powder. Maybe that has something to do with it. I'm not sure.
But the cool thing is that a lot of people get opportunities through what you do because you are always looking for an expert here, an expert there, this person's area of
Right.
expertise. You're not trying to be the expert in everything.
No, not at all.
And for that, you have to develop people. I think that's a real gift to the world because what you're doing is you're helping people build careers.
From grassroots. And I'm telling you, this is a passion that I have. So this is when I sat down with Shelley Bauer, who is the author of Integrity-Based Communication. She actually takes people through living on purpose, and you discover what your purpose is. And even though I was already bringing everyone together and I was already doing the Professional Boost program, I was able to pinpoint that that is truly my calling and my passion. So regardless of any area of business that I'm doing, whether it be ministry, business, or somewhere in between, it's always going to come back to collaboration and bringing everyone together for the benefit of all.
And growing people.
Absolutely.
Place,
the development, personal and professional development. Yes.
Which is what PBR is about. The
PBP.
PBP, professional. What did I think the R was?
The acronyms, I think, are getting to you, Mary Beth.
Yeah. Our hashtag is acronym day. No, I don't know what I thought the R was. PBP.
For
Professional
everyone,
Boost
yes.
Program. And that is how you met our guest today. Poor Lois is sitting here going, what are we talking about?
Actually, Lois probably knows it backward and forward as much as I do.
Because she is your right arm at all of what you do. All
yes, for sure.
She's your admin.
Yes, and we are peer-to-peer business. What we do is we both have autonomy, but yet we both work together to have a happy client and both of our businesses prosper. That's what you call a true collaboration. And there's two different levels of collaboration. There's a collaboration where you give and you receive, right? It's an in kind. There's no money exchange.
Right.
To me, that is the first power of collaboration in business. The second level is when you begin to have revenue shares and you begin to make money and the other person makes money and the client is happy. Now you have a three-way win. Okay. So to me, it comes in steps. And so we start out on the ground level with a professional boost program.
So let's use Lois as an example. Lois, welcome.
Thank you.
So good to meet you because you have been, when I tell you, I mean, those of you who know me know I've got a million different things coming at me and going in different directions, and I'm very easily distracted, and I have like an idea and I'm like, oh, let's do that. Rather, I need somebody to pull it together. And Lois has been helping me pull my stuff together.
Yes. She is amazing. Lois, I can't say enough how much admiration I have for you.
And it all began, well, first of all, let me tell you who Lois is. Lois runs LRD, Virtual Admin Service. You are a virtual admin for how many different clients? Because I know Sherry keeps you pretty darn busy.
It's a little bit up there. I've been doing business for a little over 4 years now.
That's awesome.
And it's kind of a mixture between virtual admin and virtual assistant, but I mainly...
What's the difference?
There's not really much of a difference. The reason why the admin is there is when I created my business, I was trying to come up with a name, and I was recently married, and that's where the Durham part came into play because my maiden name is actually Riley. And my husband was like, I'm not going to take your grandmother's name away. You keep Riley in there some way you want to do it. So that's kind of how LRD kind of came into play. And I was just like, what can I do? I know I want to do web design. I know I want to do social media and email marketing and all sorts of things. And then I just found the term virtual assistant, and I was like, well, what about LRD, virtual admin service? And let's just roll with that.
Yeah, and it works. And it says what it is.
Yes.
Because whether you're a virtual assistant or a virtual admin, it's the same thing. You basically help us keep our stuff together.
Right.
That's right.
And,
you manage
be on time.
Other people, and you do it from the comfort of either your office or your home. You can do it for anyone in the world. And believe it or not, through iShare, we do have people that speak other languages. So we truly can do that if we need to. But with LRD, one of the things that I find is that you were ahead of the curve. So you knew virtual admin was coming down the pike, and not a lot of people were doing that at that time.
Yeah.
And not a lot of people trusted that process.
And it's really growing by leaps and bounds.
Yes.
As really the world is global, and you can do business from anywhere.
Right.
Yes.
So was part of your interest the flexibility of it? Because you can also work at any hours you choose as long as you get it done.
That was kind of the reason. The other reason was I have an actual medical disorder that I was born with, which pretty much it caused me to be in and out of the hospital pretty much all my childhood, all the way up till I was about 18, 19, and I'm 31 now, and I've gotten a lot better since then. And, you know, there's times where, you know, I get really bad, you know, issues with it. Right. And, you know, it's kind of a comforting thing to know if I'm really having like a flare up or something, I know I have my laptop, I can just pull it out and work from the bed, which I have done in the past, or I can just go across the hall in my office and then start working.
So it fits work around life, which is what so many people need. So how did you two connect? Because Lois really launched her company or grew her company into what it is, developed herself and her company largely in thanks to the Professional Boost program. which was sort of begun because of Lois. So explain
yes,
that.
That's very true.
How did you meet?
We actually found each other online. And so I had just started Business Over Coffee. It wasn't even international yet. And LRD Virtual Admin had just started. Mm-hmm. So our original connection was on meetup.com, which is where I actually set up the first Business Over Coffee event. So Lois joins as a member. We had about maybe 15, 20, 30 members at the time. Mm-hmm. And I remember seeing her, looking at her profile, and that's as far as I went into that. Later on, I'm on Facebook, and I go to an app that's called Branch Out. And I post on there that if anyone is looking for an opportunity for exposure, which is what I tend to be good at, mm-hmm. In collaboration with Business Over Coffee, meaning you donate or you actually invest 5 to 20 hours per week, mm-hmm. and then we put you in front of business owners, we promote you, gotcha. All of these things. So
it's a barter arrangement.
Exactly. And so I put that out there, and Lois jumped on it. And
Smart
she wrote
cookie.
me right back. The next thing we knew, we were meeting at my office.
Because the other thing you get when you do that, just to put a bug in your ear out there if you're a fledgling business, is you get a client that you can now, a resume basically is a
yes.
resume builder. You cannot get, if you're starting out,
that's right.
You cannot really put a value on that experience right. and credibility. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely, because I automatically became her client at that point.
Exactly.
So now not only does she have the collaboration of me giving her the exposure, which if you break it down into the 4 words with Business Over Coffee, it's connections, collaboration, exposure, which leads to business. So she's getting all of that, but she's also adding me as a client. So now she can begin to add other connections that I have that at that time we were meeting weekly with Business Over Coffee.
Yeah.
So she was in front of people every week. And I'll tell you one thing, Lois worked so hard. And that's one of the things.
So they also see the caliber of the work.
Yes.
So credibility is another thing that you get. So there you
Very
go.
much so.
C in addition to connections and collaboration.
Yes, for sure.
So how did the Professional Boost program come in? Because I really want you to get, if you're out there listening, the importance of finding a mentor.
Yes.
And the importance for you to be a mentee. To be a mentor. Yeah.
A mentor and a mentee relationship.
What you each get out of. It's
yes.
very clear what the mentee gets.
Correct.
But what does the mentor get and why it's so important? So if you're good at what you do, just think about paying that forward and seeing how it can benefit you. Lois Riley Durham and Sherry Henley are a perfect example of that very symbiotic relationship that has benefited both
5 years
so
now.
much.
Yes.
So we'll be right back. It's Together Strong Thursday on the Marybeth Conley Show, AM 990 and KWAM990.com. And welcome back to the Marybeth Conley Show on AM 990 and KWAM990.com. It is Together Strong Thursday with Sherry Henley. Sherry, what do you want our hashtags to be today?
Well, I definitely think we need to hashtag a shout out to virtual admin.
Okay, virtual admin will be our first hashtag. LoisRileyDurham.com is where you can find LRD Virtual Admin Service in business for about 4 years. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you guys met because you, Sherry, had started Business Over Coffee International now.
Yes, correct.
And the work, it was beginning to take off and you needed some help. So
yes.
You connected online, you put out there who would be willing to give 15, 20 hours of admin work in exchange
right.
for connections.
Collaboration, exposure, which leads to business. They had to work
Correct.
For that.
Absolutely.
So you can't promise the business. But that's one of the points that's so important is that the mentor and the mentee both have to put in the equal amount of energy to make it work.
Now, you did not have, correct me if I'm wrong, the actual Professional Boost program as a part of what you do yet. Tell me how this unfolded and you saw that this was a need for people. It wasn't just enough to offer a trade out for services. Right. You really needed to help Lois grow.
Right. Lois came to the office and we met. We went back to my office and I was so impressed because she brought a folder with her that I did not request. So she went above and beyond. It was impeccable. It was a resume. It also had an outline of her bio and so forth. And we began to talk, and I began to sense insecurities that she was struggling with.
Lois addressed that.
And we talked about it.
What's your memory of this?
Well, when I was 12, I was in a really bad car wreck caused by a drunk driver. Because of this, my mother, to this day, I lost count how many surgeries she's had. It's over 40.
Wow.
Yeah. And, my brother was in it, and he's 6 years younger than me. And I mean, literally, he was the only one awake once it was all done. And I'm surprised he knew who to contact when he told the police, like, you know, who to contact, because apparently it was my grandmother. And it was pretty bad.
So it messed you up.
Yeah, it messed me up royally. I mean, I was knocked out, I think, for over a week. My mom, you know, doubled that. Not to mention, it's not fun to wake up and you don't realize where you are at first, and then you look up and you look in the mirror and you realize half of your head is shaved because they had to go and put a plate in your head, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just a lot of emotional trauma, mental trauma, physical trauma. So it's just a multitude of things.
It knocked you off your feet.
Yeah.
And it took a while for you to be able to get back.
Right.
So when you met Sherry and presented yourself, were you 100% confident you're a go-getter, you're building a business, and you're going to go get it?
I try to fake it.
They say fake it till you make it.
Yes.
But kudos to you being from that place.
Yes.
And stepping out.
Just showing up.
Just showing
That's
up.
huge.
That's 90% of the battle. So where were you mentally? You a little afraid?
I'm always afraid. I always have insecurities. And believe it or not, you would think for someone like me who did baton twirling for 12 years, you would get over that, but apparently not. But, you know, it was just more of an anxiety of, I gotta get there. And what's worse is when we met, I was actually running late because navigation said, you have arrived. I'm like, left or right? Left or right?
We've been there.
So you're a little panicked, you're a little sweaty, you're a little nervous.
Yeah.
And you're terrified.
Yeah, exactly.
Sherry, you sensed this.
I did. And I remember as I sat there and there was a pause. And Lois must have sensed something because she looked at me and she looked me right in the eye. And remember, we didn't know one another. She looked me right in the eye and she said, please give me this opportunity. I know I can do this. And at that moment, something said to me, and I believe in a higher power. And it wasn't an audible voice, obviously, but in my spirit, I felt that there was a reason that we had crossed each other's paths. And so we began to talk, and we talked about a professional makeover, working on areas of professional presentation, which is absolutely amazing. I'm so excited that with autonomy as peers, we are sitting here together and I'm hearing Lois talk on the radio. It's absolutely amazing to see the growth that has happened with Lois. And so talking about personal development, she agreed to take steps. And we said, we'll take 3 months and we'll invest into this and see how this goes. And so we took those baby steps at that point.
And the willingness for both of you, on both of your parts, number one, for you, Lois, to be really vulnerable.
Yes.
Because it's hard to acknowledge that I'm afraid. I don't feel confident. I'm ill at ease. I know I can do this, but I need some polishing. Right. And it's hard to be the person in Sherry's shoes saying, let's work with what we've got and start from there.
Right, because what I saw was, I mean, on paper, impeccable. I mean, Lois is absolutely, now you look at her and you see the whole package.
Yeah.
You know, but at the time you looked at the paper and it was like, okay, we need to match this up.
Basically, yes. I mean, I'm the type of person, I don't like to ask for help. I always try to figure out how to do it on my own. Yeah. And, I mean, I'm a very independent person. And then when the makeover was happening, you know, I was a little, nervous, but at the same time, I tried to take it in the best way I could. I know at first I was a little hesitant on letting everyone chop off my hair. Now I'm to the point where, you know, hair grows back. Apparently my hair grows back a lot faster than normal people for some reason. I don't know why. But yeah, I mean, I'm very grateful for the opportunity that was given to me. And, you know, I just, you know, now that is so many years has passed. I mean, I just, I'm grateful.
Well, having experienced how efficient and together you are, just myself for 6 months, I mean, Sherry is amazing, and Sherry would have built an astonishing company. But I believe it would have taken Sherry a little bit longer to do everything she has accomplished without you at her back.
I believe that as well. Lois is definitely the infrastructure that it took for both of us to be able to rise.
Yeah,
I believe that.
Yeah, absolutely. So did things like, because some people might say, oh, makeover, that's so superficial. Did it give you that boost of confidence, that professional boost?
Well, to be honest with you, because I'm not used to the whole makeup thing and everything. Yeah. Well, at first, when I first saw it, I was like, they turned me into a drag queen. But I mean, that was my first reaction.
Well, see, working from home, you can go around in your bathrobe and still be astonishingly productive. We all secretly wish we could all do that.
Sure, and when we do, we just don't tell anyone, right?
Right, exactly. But the reality is, when you go to meet clients, as you did with Sherry, the drag queen thing works.
Right. Well, I don't think it really was that. It was just, as you can see, I know people out there can't exactly see what I look like, but I'm kind of pale skinned, so they kind of darken it up a little bit too much, and I was like, what in the? but I mean, now roll on, a couple years now, I've actually gotten comfortable with makeup. I've found my perfect mix of how to do certain things and stuff like that. And
to reach that balance.
Yeah, to reach that balance. So now it
does give you more confidence.
It actually does. Sometimes I feel like I have to almost play a role when I'm meeting with people, or even when I go to networking events, because that's another thing is, I'm 31 years old, but people will sometimes go and look at me like, you're not 30 years old. And I got
What's a teenager doing here?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you'll have a lot more years of work life left. We'll be right back. LoisRileyDurham.com. That's where you'll find LRD, Virtual Admin Service. The importance of mentoring. If Sherry had not reached out and said, I'm willing to try this for 3 months, if you're willing to step up to the plate, let me show you as a professional woman how to do this.
Correct. The willingness is so important, because it gets very difficult sometimes with the mentor-mentee mentality, because the person on the other side as a mentee really wants to be already in business and rolling.
Right.
And they should be in a teachable mold. So it's important that they remain there until they graduate, and then they become peer-to-peer. So it's a balancing act of mentorship for sure.
So how do you know when you're ready to graduate? And what other examples can Sherry give us from her company of the Professional Boost program, which is very, very much in effect now? And also, how does Lois pay that forward? It's all about collaboration on Together Strong Thursday on the Marybeth Conley Show with Sherry Henley. We'll be right back. Before we go to break, let's take a listen to Bernadette Davis and Live Life Well.
If you want a restful night's sleep, Dr. Schreiner, director of the Sleep Lab at Baptist Collierville, says you have to prepare your mind.
We recommend a worry period where they can, hopefully not right at bedtime, but usually several hours prior to bedtime, they look at the day and think about what transpired that day. They look at their calendar ahead and try to figure out what they need to do.
And if you wake in the middle of the night and can't get back to sleep, Dr. Schreiner suggests,
first, take yourself out of the bedroom. If you're awake for more than 20 or 30 minutes, and go take yourself into a different room, low lighting, so you're not real bright light. Typically, I tell most of my patients, do some reflective reading. Once you start getting sleepy again, then you may return to the bedroom.
Dr. Schreiner says an occasional sleepless night is common, so if you have a restless night, don't break your sleep routine the next day.
If you have a bad night, you work through the next day, and then you try to go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time. So you don't want to sleep in late if you get up for an hour or so in the middle of the night.
And if you want to monitor your sleep habits, there are wellness tools and gadgets to help. Dr. Schreiner says he's seeing a lot of patients that are putting them to the test.
You're starting to see this with a lot of the personal health devices like the Fitbit. I'm having more patients come in and say, my sleep is much more interrupted or fragmented, or it shows this many arousals during the night. It's interesting to take that data and to try to figure out, well, what exactly is causing that?
If you want an accurate response from the device, you have to use it correctly. And remember, it's only for collecting data, not to diagnose a problem.
If you can set the time in it, like I went to bed at 10 and I got up at 6, it can give you an idea of what it feels like how much sleep you're getting versus how much awake time. These are screening devices. These are not diagnostic devices. They're to tell you, yes, you have a problem and you need to seek further evaluation. And you can start out many times seeing your primary care provider.
I'm Bernadette Davis on AM 990 KWAM.
And welcome back to the Marybeth Conley Show on AM 990 and KWAM990.com. At any time, we'd love for you to go to that website. You can listen to the show online, or you could go to the App Store and download a free app. Just put in KWAM 990, and that will enable you with one button to listen to the show as you go about your busy life. We would love to have you do that. It is all about working together to build a better community, whether it's a religious community, a work community,
family of
community.
Origin, absolutely.
Right. And Sherry Henley is what I call the queen of collaboration. Her many companies under the Sherry Henley Intelligence umbrella do everything from publishing books, writing books, a lot of personal growth, a lot of sales training, digital training, social media. Oh my gosh. If you need it done in your business, I would venture to say Sherry Henley can either do it or can, through iShare Agency, lead you to the experts who can.
Yes, the teamwork is really what makes it sing.
And Professional Boost Program is a part of what you do. Yes. Lois Riley Durham is your virtual admin, but not your employee.
That's right.
You have your own business with your other clients.
Right.
And you keep Sherry's many enterprises humming. Do you sometimes just look at all she's doing and go, I don't know how you do this?
Sometimes, and then there are other times where we'll have working calls and it starts as early as 8. I remember one time it was like 7 a.m. and I was like, I'm going to kill her.
and then she calls you and is like, okay, I've got an idea.
Yes, the idea moments and the 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. calls where we're literally on working calls all day long.
Oh, yes.
And we're both working, and it's so productive. And we're managing the clients. So it's quite exciting,
How many clients do you have in Sherry Henley? Can you even count? Because there's
so many different levels. Yes, exactly.
Amazing. SherryHenley.com, 2 R's and an I, is where you'll find all of this. You also have other websites but just go there and you'll wind your way to it.
You'll find all of them.
If you need it done, it can be done. So the Professional Boost Program, was Lois your first boostee, if you would?
Yes, absolutely. In fact, we didn't even know it was the professionalboostprogram.com, by the way. You can go there. And do you notice I did that commercial there real quick?
Sherry owns more domain names. Okay.
And so how that came about is I contacted Carolyn Bindle first, who actually would do write-ups for the Commercial Appeal.
Fashion Academy.
Right. And I had stepped in front of what she would normally do. I already had her hair done, already had her clothes bought, already had her makeup done, all of these things. And so she said, I would love to do it, but we can't do it now. So I personally called Commercial Appeal, and DeSoto Appeal picked it up. They came out, they took pictures while Lois was getting her hair done, while we were getting the new clothes. They then followed us up here to Memphis to take photos in the conference room at Ridgeway Business Center.
So you had to come up with a name for the program because to be in this article.
No, what happens is we're thinking we're going to be maybe on the back page, maybe in the middle of the paper somewhere. So on Sunday, we go to pick up the paper. We walk into Walgreens, my husband and I, and right there is the paper, and on the front page, large picture, is Lois.
Oh, my gosh.
Headlines of DeSoto Appeal, the Commercial Appeal.
See, I told you it was unusual to have someone so willingly mentor so completely. It's just unusual. A lot of people don't want to share their stuff because they think if Lois wins, if I give Lois all this professional, how to present professionally, it will somehow diminish me. She'll get more business. And that's so totally not what you are.
Right. I believe that there is no such thing as competition. You can always find a way to collaborate in some form or fashion. Absolutely.
So you see yourself, the two of you, in this after you, and what you had just done was you were really experimenting with this. And what did you say to your husband? We got to come up with a program?
Well, actually, we read the article, and it says, a Mid-South entrepreneur gets a professional boost. Light bulb. So there you go.
So you have to pay royalty payments to the commercial appeal reporter.
Exactly.
So how many have you boosted since then?
We have
gone through the professional boost program, because it's very structured now.
Yes, it is. In fact, I must give homage to those who have been mentors as well as myself. I do not do this by myself. In fact, Marybeth, you were one of the sponsors of Courtney Cardona Simpson, who is now one of our active professional boost interns.
She's a photographer.
Absolutely. In fact, you can visit CherokeeRoseFamily.com to get to her. And so she's active right now. And what I do is I contact my sphere of influence, and I see who can give back to this professional boost mentee.
And when you contact them, they also get something in return, which is services.
Most of the time, yes. Sometimes, no. If they decide to be a mentor, then at that time, they don't get anything in return. They're really investing. I leave it up to them. If they want to invest an hour, 2 hours, or 6 months.
Gotcha.
It's totally their call.
But it's in their area of expertise. So it's not like there's not a feeling of, oh, I'm going to have to give this time and I have to learn what I'm going to coach.
Right.
I don't know what to coach on.
Exactly. Okay. I'll use JackieWoodside.com, the author of Calming the Chaos, named as one of the top 10 motivational books in Inc. magazine this week for 2015,
awesome.
Which is absolutely fantastic.
She was on Together Strong a few months ago.
She was. And she is one of the mentors for Courtney. So she's investing 2 hours of coaching. Do you realize what that would cost if that was actually paid for? So right now, with the professional boost program that we have with Courtney, we are at the $3,000 mark in services and in time that's been invested into Courtney.
Wow.
And we're looking at an $8,000 to $10,000 ceiling by the end of the 6-month program.
And the mentee in this case, just as Lois did, has to be willing to give what? Time, attention, focus.
5 to 20 hours per week. Courtney has agreed to 5 hours per week. And so I leave it up to the intern how much they can invest. That's the minimum. And then we customize their program. So with Lois, what we did is we worked on radio. At the time, I had just started Business Over Coffee radio, no international yet. And so she learned how to run the studio. She still does. She does a fantastic job.
Wow.
And
Lois.
So, yes.
Virtual admin and board op.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so we invested into what she did well. And so she would take those hours, and it helped her build her expertise as well in her business.
And what Lois might need, Courtney might not need.
That's right.
Vice versa.
So with Courtney, Lois is one of her mentors, and she's working with her on the website.
Right. Okay, let's go to break real quick. Got to go pay the light bill. You'll understand that, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, there you go.
Yes.
Lois is the kind of person who reminds me that I have to pay my bills on a regular basis.
Yes.
I tell you, Lois is my brain these days. So we'll be right back. How Lois can pay that forward. I love this whole concept. It's almost back to the old days when everything was barter.
Yes.
And it makes so much sense.
It
you
does.
do what you do best. I do what I do best.
Right.
And we find a way to collaborate on that. We'll be right back. It's Together Strong Thursday on the Marybeth Conley Show, AM 990 and KWAM990.com, SherryHenley.com, 2 R's and an I, and LoisRileyDurham.com. Welcome back to the Marybeth Conley Show, AM 990 and KWAM990.com. It is Together Strong Thursday. I hope you're having the best day ever. Let me give you a couple of websites. SherryHenley.com is where you will find our online presence for our Together Strong co-host, and that's 2 R's and an I in SherryHenley.com. And Lois Riley Durham is the owner of LRD Virtual Admin Service, and you can catch her online at LoisRileyDurham.com. And the two of them met when Sherry needed a virtual admin. came together, and Sherry saw some confidence boosting that needed to happen, some professional polishing, if you will, that needed to happen. And you had the generosity of spirit and really the love and concern to say, I'm willing to bet on you if you're willing to put forth some effort. How much did that mean to you, Lois, that somebody cared enough about your growth to put in some time that she didn't really have to? She could have just said, you're not what I'm looking for.
Right. I mean, I am completely grateful for everything this past almost 5 years. I mean, I don't, who knows where I might be if she decided, okay, be gone. No.
Yeah. But, you look great on paper, but not quite there.
Right. I mean, I would still be doing what I'm doing. It's just I'd be working probably a lot harder than what I normally do, which either or I still work hard.
Right.
Yes, very
But
hard.
you have some clients that you would not have. You have some abilities that you would not have. And now you're able to pay that forward. What are you doing in the Professional Boost program within Sherry's company?
With the Professional Boost program, I'm like right now we do have Courtney, like Sherry had mentioned earlier.
Right, a photographer who's the current intern.
Yes.
I'm actually helping her mentoring when it comes to like getting her image across online when it comes to her website. She's going to be helping me with my getting my photography shots and stuff done because I'm actually in the process of completely redoing and retweaking my website.
So there you go. You get headshots.
Yes.
She gets help on her website. It's collaboration.
That's right. And that's something the two of them worked out. So that I leave that up to the mentor. Whatever they decide to work out with a mentee, it's on them. So I'm the facilitator. That's what I do, bringing everyone together.
If someone's interested in the Professional Boost program, can they say, you know what, I have these skills, I really need some help, and I want to be a part?
Yes, there's an application process. So they would go to professionalboostprogram.com. Read about the program there. You can also see the alumni, those who have graduated. You can see the active participants now and how that looks.
And give us an idea of like what fields are covered in terms of the interns. Because somebody may be saying, well, that really sounds interesting, but I'm not sure if what I do fits.
Well, what we do is we customize the program for their field.
Right.
So depending on their field, if let's say it's someone that sells jewelry, then what I would do, which I have with Beverly Borick, is I took her to booksellers. I showed them her beautiful jewelry that's handmade, fine jewelry. They said, yes, we would love to put it in the store. So we do different things with different people. So
connections.
Exactly, connections. And then we would also, if she were in the program still, we would make sure she had a table to display her jewelry at every event. I would see if events were going on in the city where she could display her jewelry and sell her jewelry. So her expertise is not tech, where it is with Lois. So I really zero in on, I have them make a wish list, and that way I can actually see what it is that they desire.
How many can you handle at once?
That's a good question because we've had one at a time.
I would think that would be about maxing it out, honestly.
Because there is so much time that's invested, not just only on my part, also on Lois's part, and also on the mentor's part.
Right.
But with the Professional Boost intern, they must invest a lot of time because we give them homework as well.
All right. ProfessionalBoostProgram.com is where to go to find that. Find Lois and her services at LoisRileyDurham.com. That's LRD Virtual Admin Service. And, SherryHenley.com to R's and an I here every Thursday on Together Strong Thursday on the Marybeth Conley Show. Thank you so much for sharing your story.
You're welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm certainly glad to have a connection with both of you.
Yeah, so we're blessed. Very grateful.
Hashtag collaboration today. Perfect example of it. Go be a mentor to someone who could use a hand, and who knows what you will be blessed with in return. We'll be here tomorrow for Faith Friday. Looking forward to seeing you then. Thank you.